Hello, friend. Today we will explore the story of a serial killer. Typically, individuals like this have had an unfortunate childhood, feeling that society is unfair and developing a resentment towards life. However, in this case, the perpetrator is someone who has lived a life of luxury. His parents are educated and hold positions of power, but it is precisely this lavish lifestyle, combined with the indifference in his parents' education, that has led him down an unstoppable path of criminality. So how did his maturation process unfold? How many people has he killed? Let's investigate together. Huang Changbing, born on November 6, 1973, in a family of high-ranking officials in Baoding. Due to his family's circumstances and his parents' indulgence, Huang Changbing developed an arrogant and haughty personality from a young age. From 5th grade in elementary school, Changbing began secretly observing female students bathing, despite being reprimanded by his parents multiple times. When he entered secondary school, the turbulence of adolescence caused his behavior to become increasingly unruly. He noticed a female student in his class and directly asked her out, but was cruelly rejected. This enraged the proud Changbing, and he cornered the girl in the restroom, forcing her to have relations with him. Fortunately, a teacher arrived in time to intervene, preventing him from carrying out his malicious intentions. As he reached adulthood, Changbing grew tall and became a bully at school. Naturally, his friends were not of good character either. A few of them introduced pornographic materials to Changbing, further damaging his morals and ethics. After passing the university entrance exam, his father arranged for him to join the military. Changbing did show some improvement in character during this time, but upon returning from service, he once again indulged in social vices such as drinking and prostitution. With a life of indulgence since childhood, Bing began to use his family's money to approach and have relationships with women. It wasn't long before his family found out about this. However, despite many attempts at education, Bing did not change. His parents could only sit and watch, unconcerned. It was precisely this lax attitude of his parents that ultimately turned Bing into an extremely dangerous demon. On a day in March 1997, Bing was happily dancing in the dance hall when he saw a young, beautiful girl. He forced her to dance with him. However, the girl's boyfriend named Zhang came forward and pushed Bing away. Of course, Bing could not tolerate this insult, and he immediately threw a punch at the young man. The two then began fighting. After being hit several times, the enraged Bing no longer cared about the consequences. He drew a knife he had on him and lunged at his opponent, stabbing Jiang in the abdomen. A cry of pain rang out. Jiang was wounded and fell, and the panicked Bing fled the scene. Afterwards, the injured Jiang was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment and miraculously survived, despite his serious injuries. When Bing's father heard the news, he was so angry that he fainted. A few hours later, he personally took Bing to the police station to turn himself in. Finally, Bing was sentenced to 3 years in prison for intentional injury. But thanks to the efforts of his family and his good behavior in prison, he was released 1 year early in March 1999. However, upon his return, Bing continued to wander around bars and entertainment clubs and befriended a lost girl named Zhao Liying. After becoming Bing's girlfriend, Lai Ying did her best to take care of everything for him. Bing had been spoiled since childhood and didn't even know how to do laundry. In the past, his mother had to come and take care of his daily life, but since Liying came along, she could finally rest easy. Just 3 months after getting a girlfriend, Bing had gained over 10 kilograms. However, with his open-minded personality, he could not be satisfied with just one girlfriend. When Liying was not at home, he would still go out and bring other women back to spend the night. During this time, Bing also became entangled in foreign porn films, as normal intimate affairs between men and women could no longer satisfy him. Bing wanted more stimulating things. Of course, ordinary prostitutes, no matter how depraved, could not accept Bing's perverse ideas. As for Zhao, her morals would not allow her to engage in such acts. Seeing that those around him could not satisfy his sadistic desires, a malicious thought arose in Bing's mind to lure others to his home to torment them. In 2000, Bing met a girl named Hong at a karaoke bar. Hong was not a stripper, just a girl who liked to have fun. She often sang and danced at the karaoke bar. After some time, Hong became close with Bing, but she had her own principles and ignored Bing's advances. This only piqued Bing's interest further. In Bing's mind, torturing others would surely bring an unprecedented thrill, so he decided to make his move on Hong. One night, Bing pretended to invite Hong over to his house to hang out. Having known him for a while, and aware that Bing's parents were prominent figures locally, she wanted to see the home of such influential people. So, she agreed to his invitation. Little did she know that this outing would be her last. As soon as she stepped into the house, Bing attacked her. He hung her up, blindfolded her with black cloth, then beat her with a whip, burned her with cigarette butts, and poured boiling water on her. Hong passed out multiple times from the torture. When she regained consciousness, she vowed to report Bing to the police and ensure he ended up in prison. Hearing the mention of prison, Bing panicked. If Hong really reported him, he feared facing several more years behind bars. Even though his parents' connections might reduce his sentence, he still found the idea intolerable. So, he decided to silence her by killing her. Before killing her, he tortured Hong for nearly 2 hours to satisfy his sadistic urges. Then, he strangled her to death with an electric cord. Despite this being his first murder, Bing felt not only fear but also a sick thrill, recalling Hong's desperate struggle. Still unsatisfied, Bing went on to abuse and kill another girl, Zhao Lin. He had known Lin previously and they had been intimate a few times. This time, Bing gave Lin 300 yuan and asked her to come home with him. Lin readily agreed. The result was that Lin was tortured and tormented for 4 hours until she died from exhaustion. In a single day, Bing had murdered 2 girls. After committing these horrific crimes, Bing began to think about how to dispose of the bodies and cover up his crimes. Initially, he planned to dismember the bodies and dispose of them. However, he was not skilled with a knife and dismembering would take 5-6 hours. If delayed any longer, his parents might discover what he had done. At this moment, Bing glanced at a refrigerator, sparking an idea. He hid the bodies of his 2 victims in the refrigerator and covered them with cement. This method prevented the stench from escaping. After Zhao returned and discovered the strange concrete block, she asked Bing about it. He gave only a reluctant explanation. The murder of the 2 girls in one day caused a stir in the area, prompting the police to get involved. Bing and Zhao fled to Bing's hometown, Dandong, to evade the police. They stayed there for about 6 months. When they saw the police had not found them, they returned to Baoding. However, living in a room with the bodies made Bing very uncomfortable, so he moved to another place. Since he was a murderer, Bing did not dare to contact his family, losing his source of income. Zhao had to work to make a living, but her wages were too low to cover their expenses. So, Bing contacted an old prison friend, Wang Fei, who was involved in illegal activities at a gambling den, seeking an illicit income. The first time, Bing was lucky and won a few thousand yuan, which made him very excited. But in subsequent visits, he lost a lot of money, up to 80,000 yuan. When Bing realized he had been cheated, he called Fei to demand his money back. However, Fei, also involved in shady dealings, refused to return the money. Bing threatened to teach Fei a lesson because he knew Fei would not dare to fight back. Fei, aware of Bing's influential family, fled. Bing, unable to find Fei, became increasingly angry. Unable to control his rage, he went to Fei's house and killed Fei's wife in a fit of fury. He stabbed her over 30 times with a knife and took 20,000 yuan. As the Baoding police hunted for Bing, he and Zhao fled to Guangxi, where an old friend named Zhao Qiang was smuggling weapons. Bing bought a pistol. Armed with this weapon, Bing became even more reckless. On the night of October 3rd, he robbed a young girl of 2,000 yuan in Nanning and intended to kidnap and rape her, but was interrupted by local security guards. Later, he lured another girl named Ah Jen to his home, where he tortured and killed her, then buried her body in concrete under the gas stove in his apartment. He then lured another woman to his home, murdered her with the pistol, and disposed of her body in the river because there was no more space in the kitchen to hide the body. Not stopping there, Bing bought an American M1911 automatic rifle, a more powerful weapon, to continue his crimes in Wuhan. This time, he brutally tortured a hair salon owner, Liu Lei, for 4 hours, then used the gun to force her to call her family to deliver 6,600 yuan as ransom. Lei called her sister, Fang, but when Fang brought the money, she also fell the victim to Bing. Fortunately, Fang's boyfriend was worried and secretly followed her. However, he lost her in the neighborhood. Seeing his girlfriend enter and not come out, he reported to the police. Based on clues from a resident in the neighborhood, the police knew Fang had entered one of the 3 apartments, but they did not know exactly which floor. They had to investigate each place one by one. When they reached apartment 604 on the 6th floor, a man suddenly rushed out, quickly ran toward the police, and jumped out of the building. When the police stormed into the room, they found Lei and Fang still tied to the bed, their bodies covered in whip marks. Following the incident, the Wuhan City Criminal Investigation Team quickly arrived at the scene. From the items left behind, they found 4 identity cards from Chengdu, Hebei Province, and Xinjiang, Henan Province. The police suspected the perpetrator might be from Xinjiang or Chengdu. Based on the victims' descriptions, they assessed that this was a seasoned criminal with a strong psychological profile. They immediately compared fingerprints and photos on the documents with nationwide wanted lists for kidnapping, robbery, and murder. After 48 hours of intensive work, they discovered that the suspect was indeed the notorious criminal Bing, wanted by the Xinjiang police. On October 3, 2003, the Wuhan police, in cooperation with local law enforcement, successfully arrested the serial killer Bing, who had killed 5 women and injured many others. After his arrest, Bing confessed to the crimes he had committed since May 2000 in provinces such as Liaoning, Beijing, Guangxi, Henan, and Wuhan, including robbery, rape, murder, and illegal weapons trafficking. On May 19, 2004, Bing was sentenced to death. His girlfriend was convicted of harboring a criminal and received an 8-year prison sentence. His accomplice, Xiao Bing, was sentenced to life in prison for illegal weapons and ammunition trading. Thus, the serial killer, Bing, who buried bodies in concrete, has been eliminated. From this case, we can see that the family plays an extremely important role in shaping the character and future direction of children. From a young age, the values, qualities, and behaviors instilled in a child within the family will deeply influence their development as an individual. Parents are the first and closest people to a child, and they act as role models for the child to emulate. If the family cultivates in the child admirable qualities, such as honesty, kindness, and care for others, this provides a solid foundation to help the child become a good citizen, beneficial to society. Conversely, if the family lacks proper care and attention, and the child is exposed to negative influences from the surrounding environment, it can easily lead to deviant behaviors and even criminal activities in the future. Therefore, the diligent care and education of children by parents from an early age is very important. This is the foundation for developing outstanding citizens who are useful to their families and society.